আসসালামু আলাইকুম। আমি প্রিসিলা বলছি নিউ ইয়র্ক থেকে। আশা করছি আপনারা সবাই ভালো আছেন। Welcome back to another live stream. Today's live stream is going to be a very, very special one. I'm hoping it'll be special for all of us. Today, I'm going to be joined by someone I personally have looked up to for a long time, and I could not have imagined that in a million years I would be able to live stream with her. So I'm just going to hope that today we'll be able to have a good conversation and hopefully motivate all of the viewers today to keep working hard and to move forward in life. আশা করছি যে আপনারা যারা ইউনিভার্সিটি কলেজ or school students আছেন in the viewing audience right now যে আপনারা motivated feel করবেন after watching this live stream. আজকে আমাদের সাথে আছে the uh, ওয়ার্ল্ডের প্রথম এবং only female armless pilot and এটা উনি শো করেছেন যে if আপনি চেষ্টা করেন, if আপনি hard work করেন, anything is really possible. If you work hard and if you're dedicated to follow your dreams and pursue your dreams and work towards a specific goal you have in mind, it is not impossible. You can do anything you put your mind to. It's just going to take a lot of hard work. So I'm hoping that she'll be able to inspire you to keep working, especially because we are in the middle of a pandemic and I feel like we could all use a little extra motivation right now. She is a very big star in my eyes, and I'm very, very excited to be able to bring Miss Jessica Cox onto the screen right now. Hello, thank you so much for joining my stream today. How are you doing?
Doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much. So many people look up to you, and when I posted on my page that you would be coming onto the show, more people than ever, I think, were beyond excited to see you. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to come onto my show. You're doing really amazing and you're doing a lot, and I think that inspires so many people. You're a pilot, you've presented at the World Youth Forum, you're an entrepreneur, a disability advocate, you're a scuba diver, a black belt, and a Taekwondo champion as well. And I've seen that you also play the piano among so much more. So I would love to learn more about your childhood. What are some challenges that you faced at a younger age and how did you overcome them?
Well, as you already know, that I was born without arms, and also remind me if you'd like to me to pause to give you some room for translation if you would like.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. And I think from the very beginning, I had wonderful parents who believed in me. And my mother would say, "You can do anything." And my father said, "I never once shed a tear about your birth condition. I never saw you as being disabled or a victim." So I never really had the choice to see myself as a victim of any handicap.
Mhm.
And my faith played a profound role in that as well, because it was naturally very hard growing up being different. Now, as an adult, it's a lot easier because I've gone through all of that. But in the beginning, it was very challenging. It was very difficult to be different, to be the only one.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's something that many parents face. They face the opposite of what your parents, like the reaction that your parents gave you at a young age. I've spoken to some parents of special needs, and they shared how, especially with the stereotypical stereotypes that are set in place for special kids, many parents have a hard time accepting that. So I think it was really great to hear how your parents kind of were more accepting of who you were right after birth, I guess you can say. So I'm going to be translating a little bit. আপনারা যারা viewers আছেন, আমি ওনাকে প্রশ্ন করেছিলাম যে চাইল্ডহুডে কি চ্যালেঞ্জেস ফেস করেছেন and কিভাবে ওভারকাম করেছেন। উনি শেয়ার করেছেন যে ওনার প্যারেন্টস অনেক অ্যাকসেপ্টিং ছিল ওনার কন্ডিশন নিয়ে অ্যান্ড কখনো ওনাকে ভিকটিম হিসেবে দেখেনি অ্যান্ড সেটা বেসিক্যালি ওনাকে অনেক কনফিডেন্স দিয়েছিল টু কিপ ওয়ার্কিং. So thank you so much for sharing. My next thing I wanted to know is What role did your parents play? And you answered that. And I want to ask if you had any friends at that young age who were accepting of you and didn't really judge you.
Friends are very important, and I feel very blessed and fortunate that I had good friends who really unconditionally loved and accepted me, because we all want that sense of acceptance and belonging. And I had even a best friend growing up. Her name was Stephanie. And I remember how she was so accepting of me, even when I had prosthetic arms, which the option of prosthetics was available to me to use basically metal and plastic prosthetic limbs. And even with those, she loved me without them, because it was that kind of unconditional love and acceptance that I didn't have to have the prosthetics on for her to accept me as I am.
That's very amazing to hear. And you graduated with a degree in psychology. So I wanted to know if there was a specific reason why you chose psychology.
I love the statement, uh, life is 10% what happens to you, 90% of how you respond to it. And I love that, and how it connects to psychology about how we process things in our brains, and how it is that that contributes to our life significantly. And so that's why I really had this love for psychology. When I took my first courses in college, I thought, wow, this is really fascinating. And what a way to tie in a degree with being a speaker and being a professional speaker who goes on stage in front of thousands of people to share the message that our attitudes are more important than our challenges. The way we approach a challenge, our mindset, and how it is that we look at things is more important than what's in front of us. And making that shift, helping others to take that shift, was really ideal. So connecting the psychology with being a speaker was a perfect fit. And that's why I did my degree in a Bachelor of Science in Psychology.
That's very nice to hear. Thank you. And in the beginning, I stated that you are a Taekwondo champion. So, is there anything that inspired you or motivated you to start Taekwondo, or did it just start off as a hobby at first?
I started Taekwondo when I was 10 years old. And my mother decided to give my sister, my brother, and myself the opportunity to practice martial arts, because she wanted us to be able to defend ourselves. And I decided to stick with it, because here we are many, many years later, and now I'm a fourth degree black belt in Taekwondo. And for me, Taekwondo was just one of those things you do as a child because your parents want to enroll you in it. And
Hmm.
it became a lifelong passion for me, because I loved how it built confidence, how one of the lessons is to always keep your eyes up. And I always looked down before that. I would always be self-conscious and look down a lot. And Taekwondo taught me to keep my eyes up and look out and be aware. And keeping that confidence is critical, so that you're not a victim of an attack. And so for me, I loved Taekwondo initially as a hobby, and it's almost like a lifestyle now.
I think it's so great that you mentioned attitude and confidence because I watched in your TED talk that you did quite a lot as a child. You were the daredevil of the family, and you wanted to continuously prove others wrong and really show off your strength. So, if I could ask, how did you develop that mentality and confidence? Because I think that's pretty advanced and hard for people to find these days.
Yes, I definitely wanted to. Part of me is courage, being a courageous person, and like you said, the daredevil of the family. That was probably built in me, but it also probably was even more so because of the fact that so many people doubted me, and so many people said, "You can't do this, you can't do that," and it almost built a drive in me to prove the world that yes, I can. And I think one of the ways in which you can do that for anyone is, if you are faced with doubters or with people who say, oh, you can't do that, you don't have what it takes, then to really reverse it. And instead of giving in to the doubt, make sure that you channel that in a way that can be used for good. Channel in a way to say that, I can do it. And, there's a saying, no one can make you feel inferior without your permission. And I love that because it's so true. If we can just use the negative doubters, or the people, the naysayers, they call them,
Mhm.
um, to use that to channel ourselves to do our best. And obviously, we want to also have authenticity for what we do. But also, if anyone ever crosses our path and doubts us, it's important to not let that take us, hold us back.
Thank you so, so much for sharing. I think that was something else that I wanted to know more about because at your TED Talk, you also stated that there was a point with in your journey using prosthetic arms that you asked if you were doing things for yourself or for others and conforming to the expectations kind of set by society. And the fact that you had the confidence to kind of unapologetically be yourself, I think was so inspiring. And so I would love to translate that for the viewers. আমি ওনাকে জিজ্ঞেস করেছিলাম যে অ্যাজ এ চাইল্ড উনি অনেক অ্যাডভেঞ্চারাস ছিল, অনেক courageous ছিল অ্যান্ড সবসময় ইচ্ছা ছিল যে অন্যরা কি বলতো অপোজিটটা করতে বিকজ অনেক নেগেটিভ পিপল আছে ইন দ্য ওয়ার্ল্ড আমরা সবাই জানি অ্যান্ড সো উনি বেসিক্যালি শেয়ার করেছেন the importance of taking that negativity and turning it into positivity. অন্যরা যে নেগেটিভ কথা বলে আপনারা সেটা ইউজ করে ওদেরকে শো করতে পারেন যে আপনি এত নেগেটিভ না, আপনি অ্যাকচুয়ালি অনেক স্ট্রং। So you are obviously a very well-known and successful pilot. So I want to ask if at a young age, did you want to be a pilot or did you have other plans in mind?
When I was younger, I knew that I wanted to do something to help the world. And at first, I thought maybe I could do something in the medical field. And I had this also dream of breaking free of the limitations that people put on me. And maybe you've heard the story, but when I was on the playground in elementary school, all I ever wanted to do was climb up the slide. And the slide is 12 feet tall. And climbing up the slide, I thought I could do it, but everyone kept me from climbing up it. And as a child, that made me angry and frustrated. So I would just sit on the swings, close my eyes, and envision flying high above the playground. And that vision of breaking free of my limitations really stuck with me. And sure enough, after college, I had the unique opportunity to try flight training, to try to break the boundaries that the world was putting on me because of my difference.
Thank you so, so much. You've become a very successful pilot and motivational speaker. So could you please share with us your journey of becoming a pilot and were there any moments where you were frustrated with yourself or were there more moments that were memorable for you and inspired you to stay on this journey and become more successful as a pilot? I would specifically love to know your experience with your first flight and how that went for you.
There were many frustrations along the way. And just to give you an idea, I mean, the most basic challenges like buckling up my seatbelt and putting on my headset, they served as an obstacle for me because no one had ever done this before. So even some of the more simple challenges were difficult for me. And those just were the first day of flight training, just to give you some perspective. And it continued on for over, about 3 years, three different flight instructors and numerous states, meaning flight training in Florida, California, and then back in Arizona. And finally, to get to that day when my instructor turned to me and said, now you can fly the airplane on your own. And that was 3 airplanes later, of course. So it was more involved than the average student pilot for sure. But finally getting to that day was an incredible moment, to finally being told that you can fly the plane on your own. And I remember it because it was so special, and it was the moment I was waiting for. And I just remember having my feet on the controls and being so focused on flying that it didn't even hit me that I was flying the plane alone. And then I turned my first turn in the pattern, and all of a sudden I heard static and I started to panic. And sure enough, I had some trouble with my communication because my headset and my radio, something was wrong. And instead of panicking, though, I remembered what my instructor taught me, and he said, fly the airplane first, everything else is second. And I came in, landed the plane smoothly, and got out of that airplane so empowered that I was pilot in command of an airplane, but also pilot in command of my life. It was an incredible moment.
Thank you so, so much. And were there any other memorable moments for you that stuck with you to this day and that inspire you to keep moving forward and to keep inspiring others?
Yes, there have been so many moments that remind me about how important my job is to inspire others as a speaker, as an author, as a coach, a life coach, as someone who stands for positivity and inspiration. I mean, I have met many people also who are born without arms around the world. I've traveled to 27 countries to see um, people with disabilities, and knowing that I'm taking a stand for the disability community as well is so important. And I think they are the ones who keep me doing what I'm doing, meeting people missing limbs, meeting people who are also born without arms, seeing the unfortunate truth of people with disabilities around the world, that they don't have the opportunities, they don't have the support system, and they don't have even the education because they're not allowed to go to school. To see that, it really reminds me that my job and what I've been able to do is really to show what's possible for anyone, what's possible for someone with a disability, what's possible for someone who may not have a visual disability, something that's visually apparent, but something that may be an emotional challenge, something that's a mental thing. And whatever it is, that they can do what they can keep going, they can persist, and they can achieve great things.
Thank you so, so much. I think to see how far you've come and to see that where you're going to continue to go has definitely been empowering for many. You've gone to different parts of Ethiopia and you visited children and their families where the children have disabilities, and you've tried to help them overcome their differences and become more confident in who they are. So, could you please share that experience? What were the reactions of the kids and families when they heard about your story and how you came so far, and how were your emotions at that time?
I think many people are in disbelief until they see me for themselves, because they're just like, is this really possible or is this a made up story? And then they see me and they see that it is possible, it is true. And for them it's it's unbelievable. But I think that, you know, many things that seem impossible are possible. It's just the thought is what's impossible. But if we start to break it down and make it something that we can do, you'd be surprised what we can do. So I think it really challenges expectations when people hear my story and come to meet me, and it inspires them to, for the parents of children born with disabilities or who have acquired disabilities due to injury or disease, for those parents, it's encouraging so that they can continue to encourage their children, which I hope they can always do. Not to always coddle them, and but to give them tough love to help them grow and help them to figure out a way to do things, because it's empowering to be independent and to figure it out. And that is what's wonderful, is being able to share that.
Thank you so, so much. In 2019, you spoke at the World Youth Forum in Sharm el Sheikh, Egypt, about disability, some of the challenges that disabled people face, and the importance of pursuing one's dreams. You were honored by the Egyptian president, Abdel Fattah el Sisi, for your accomplishments. So, how was that moment for you, and how did that inspire you to continue working and to advance what you've already done?
It was very amazing just doing that now. It was in November of, I'm sorry, December of 2019. And to speak for the Youth Forum, to have all the youth representatives from around the world was incredible. If you can imagine this room full of people, thousands of youth who are energized, ready at that point in their life to make a difference in the world, it gave me goosebumps. And then to speak in front of all these thousands of people at the opening ceremonies and to empower them to believe that they can do anything was such an honor and such a privilege to do. And then for the closing ceremonies, the president wanting to give me a symbol of appreciation, a wonderful, beautiful gift on the stage there in Egypt. It was unbelievable and special, and what an experience it was. I just hope that that the youth who were there will continue to be the movers and shakers in the world, and will continue to do their best and their skills, using their skills and talents to make a difference.
Thank you so, so much. That was very beautiful to hear. And pursuing your dreams is obviously something that's very important to many in their lives, but sometimes it's hard to have the motivation to keep going. What I tell myself sometimes, especially with school, when I don't have the motivation to continue working, sometimes discipline is more important than motivation. So we've heard throughout this stream that you're a very empowered person and you have the will and dedication to keep moving forward. I would love to know if there were any moments where you felt like you had no motivation and how did you overcome those moments?
I'm human, and being human means there are moments, even as someone who's a motivational speaker, there are moments when I need to be inspired. There are moments when I feel like who understands me, or that I get down on myself. And I'm definitely just like everyone else in that regard. We've all been there. And for me, what helps me personally is my faith. And my faith in God helps me to really move forward, to move and continue to stretch myself, to continue to get out of bed with a smile, and to continue to do some of the work that I know is important in the world. And my faith is a tremendous part of my life. It's been a journey. It's been a point of, why me in the beginning, to now I feel like I've had so many blessings to be able to inspire many people around the world and to share the message that's so important that everyone needs to hear, not to give up.
Definitely. Thank you so much. We've heard about what you've done in the past and who you are in the present. So, what are your future plans or your dreams as of now regarding the World Youth Forum or evolving what you've done already regarding advocating for people with disabilities or maybe building up a new talent because we know you're multi talented?
I love the question because I'm always challenging myself. If we challenge ourselves, it helps us to grow and become stronger and more resilient as a result. So I think it's important to constantly be challenging ourselves. But I also want to work more in the world of disability. And I created a foundation that's called Right Footed Foundation International to help people with disabilities, because I feel like I've been given so many opportunities, I've been given so much support, that now's the time to give back. And I have such a passion for helping people missing limbs, born without limbs, or have lost their limbs. So that's what my foundation serves, to empower, educate, inspire, and advocate. We'll continue to work in that realm, as well as continuing to be challenged on another level with some kind of obstacle. I mean, I'm still thinking about it, but it might have to do with flying, because I was recently an airplane was donated to my foundation, and I want to spread the message even more so with this airplane. So I think we'll be working in that world, and you'll continue to see me push boundaries in aviation.
Amazing. Thank you so, so much for sharing that. You are an inspiration and a motivation to so many people. So, when you meet people who tell you their stories and the role that you've played in their lives to motivate them and push them to keep going, how does that make you feel and how does that impact you in your journey moving forward?
Motivating people is so important. Let me understand your question a little better. Can you ask that one more time?
Yes. So when people share with you their life story and the role that you played in it, how does that make you feel?
It is so special to be able to know that someone has been inspired and motivated to achieve a goal, or um, to get past some kind of obstacle, whether that's a mental block, whether it's an emotional block, whatever it is. It is so rewarding to hear their story. And I want to continue to inspire people and remind them, I can serve as an inspiration to people, but people have to ultimately motivate themselves. So that has to come from within. And I can be inspired by many things in the world as well, but it has to come from within to motivate myself. So the same is true for anyone else, that we have to continue to motivate ourselves, be inspired. And it's wonderful to have other people who are leaders who show us that anything is possible. But we ultimately have to make that decision in our own lives, how to motivate ourselves to do things and to overcome our challenges and obstacles.
Thank you so, so much. So, as a successful person, when somebody just comes up and asks you, what is the key to being successful? What is your response usually?
When someone comes up to me to ask what's the key to being successful, I talk about multiple things. And I mean, if I were to narrow it down to one key factor, it would be very difficult because there are a lot of contributors to that. Sometimes it's, for me, I talk about that journey of self acceptance. And that was my key to being successful. Even more difficult than flying an airplane for me was coming to terms with the reality of my difference and how to be confident in my own skin, how to be confident in the world when not everyone is accepting, not everyone is inclusive. So I think one of those key things, just to mention one of many things, is to have that journey of self acceptance and self confidence.
Thank you so much. Throughout this stream, we've been speaking about the importance of having faith and having confidence in yourself. And I know that many people, especially in the younger generation, are struggling with that self acceptance, whether it be, mentally with their grades or with their career path that they've chosen to take. So, are there any pieces of advice or things that have helped you to gain that confidence and accept yourself for who you are?
And I love, Priscilla, that you mentioned the faith too, because that is always continuing as a continuing journey. So for me, I think a lot of times confidence comes from making yourself vulnerable and taking on a challenge that might seem intimidating. Because with the growth of conquering an obstacle comes a certain level of confidence. For me, I jumped from challenge to challenge to challenge because of the fact that with each new accomplishment brought about a level of confidence. So for those seeking confidence, I would say challenge yourself, make yourself vulnerable in a way that there's something that might seem impossible or might seem difficult. And when you're able to conquer that, there will be a significant amount of confidence that will come from it.
Thank you so, so much. We've heard about memorable memories in your career, and I would love to know if you could share with us a memorable memory that you have regarding your family.
Oh, that's a beautiful question. I have such a wonderful family, and now I've been married for some time now, going on 9 years in May. So I have a wonderful husband, and one of probably our memories was we were able to share our wedding dance, the wedding dance that we did at our wedding. We surprised our entire audience, our entire guests, all the guests, our family, our friends that were there. We surprised them with this wedding dance. And it, of course, no one knew it was a secret that we had for many months. So we practiced and then we did our dance in front of everyone, and everyone was so happy. And then we were able to share that in Ethiopia. So we were able to share that same dance when I went to do some advocacy in Ethiopia to help with children with disabilities in the field of education. Many children are not allowed to go to school when they
Mhm.
have a disability. And we were there encouraging that all children should be given the opportunity to go to school. And we spoke, and then afterwards, some of the students asked us to show our wedding dance. And we did it right there on the dirt ground. We did our dance, and it was just wonderful because everyone circled us, and it was a special moment to share our love story by through our wedding dance.
That's very wonderful to hear. Thank you. Now in life, are there any obstacles that you still face? And if there are, how do you overcome them now that you've had all the experience from the past?
Every single day I face some kind of challenge because that's what life is. It's a constant challenge, and I think especially now for everyone, challenges are everywhere. Everyone, no matter where you are in the world, you're faced with some form of adversity. And adversity, for one, shouldn't be looked at in a negative way, because we grow from our adversity when we can overcome it. And for me, because from the start, from birth, I was born this way, so I had to learn out of necessity how to adapt. So it became so much a part of me that when I am faced with a challenge now, I just go right into the routine of, okay, I'm going to break this challenge down into smaller steps. I'm going to figure out a way. I'm going to have to be innovative. And that's the truth for any of us. We have to, first of all, shift the way we see a challenge. We have to shift the way we see an obstacle and use that obstacle as a positive challenge, not as something negative that holds us back. So I think it starts with shifting the way we look at it.
Definitely. Thank you so, so much. And I feel like I need to address the fact that we are in a pandemic right now. So, when the pandemic hit, how has life changed and how's it been going for you?
The pandemic has been a challenge for everyone, more so for others. I feel like I've been fortunate in some ways because of the fact that I've been able to really turn my speaking career. Uh, I've been able to pivot it. What my husband and I have pivoted it so that we can use it as a virtual platform. So,
Mhm.
like right now, doing this interview with you, Priscilla, and it's wonderful what you pump out into the world to inspire the world. Just being able to share the message virtually, and it's allowed the reach to be even easier. Normally, I would have to get on an airplane and fly thousands, miles to get to another country to be able to share a message. But because no one was encouraged to travel during the pandemic, we essentially were using a lot of virtual platforms like this one right now that you're using. And so for me, it became a way of just figuring out, how am I going to get the inspiration, motivation out there? And I did a lot of virtual conferences, a lot of virtual keynote speeches, and it gave me more time to also do some things at home because I wasn't traveling all the time. Um, so it did change some things for me, but I think many others have been challenged in so many other ways. So I feel fortunate that it hasn't been as difficult.
Thank you so, so much. More than 3,000 people are watching our stream right now, and someone might be holding the camera for you, or you might be holding it yourself. So, how many more minutes or how much more of your time can you spare for us?
It's so funny. The reason that the camera is somewhat shaking right now, it's just not shaking but moving, is because I'm holding the camera between my toes as I'm doing this. So I hope I'm not making anyone any dizzy, because I'm holding it so that I can be sure have it at an angle with the light from the outside coming through. But I still have a few minutes if you'd like.
Of course. You mentioned that over this pandemic, you've had time to develop your speaking and to reach more people. So, have you always wanted to become a motivational speaker, or is there something that inspired you to become such a speaker?
I didn't always want to become a speaker. In fact, I was terrified of being in front of a large audience. I was a very shy person. I was very insecure growing up, and I was given my first opportunity to speak when I was a sophomore in high school. And it was really moving for me because so many people came up afterwards and said, "Wow, your story is so amazing. Your story is inspiring." And I said, "Well, this is my normal." And I didn't think anything amazing of it. And that's probably when it planted the seed that maybe I should consider doing this speaking, even though it meant overcoming some of the insecurities that I have, the insecurities we all have in front of audience, standing up.
Mhm.
It's terrifying for many people to stand up in front of a large group and speak and share your life. And so I thought maybe I should do this because of so many people coming up to me and saying it's inspiring, it's encouraging, and it teaches people not to give up.
Thank you so, so much. That was very great to hear. And last but definitely not least, is there any advice that you would like to share? Because those who are watching are mostly in the younger generation who are attending school or going to college or university, and some might not feel motivated or motivated to do work or do harder work or to work harder. So, is there any advice that you have for us to stay confident in our abilities and move forward to achieving our goals?
I just want to say to definitely continue to be confident in who you are. There's no one else in the world like you. And it's very important that we celebrate that uniqueness instead of hiding it or trying our best to blend in with the rest of the world. I would say celebrate what makes you different. Embrace what makes you different and know that it is giving so much to the world. There's no one else in the world like you. So you can't be replaced. It's not possible. So whatever it is you do, celebrate it, who it is you are, and challenge yourself. Because when we challenge ourselves, we take ourselves to a journey of growth. Through a journey of growth, we take ourselves through a journey of resilience, and ultimately confidence once we achieve that goal.
Thank you so, so much for joining my stream today. And me, myself, it was great to learn more about you. And I think the viewers really enjoyed this stream. And I want to add that during this live stream and during most of my streams, I have a cameraman in front of me just handling everything behind the scenes. And you're doing this all on your own. So I think that is so, so amazing that you're holding the phone with your feet. I truly don't have any words. And throughout this stream, I was trying to not go completely speechless and remember that I can speak English. Thank you so, so much for giving me the chance to speak with you and for joining my stream today. And if I have time, I'll definitely be visiting Arizona once COVID calms down a little bit. But thank you so, so much. And it truly was an honor and a privilege to be able to speak with you today.
Thank you, Priscilla. Thank you for what you're doing. And it was an honor and a privilege to be on your show. Thank you.
Thank you so, so much. I hope that I'll be able to work for you one day and be able to continuously learn something from you and your family as well.
Well,
Thank you so, so much.
thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
You too. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. অনেক অনেক ধন্যবাদ যারা এই লাইভ স্ট্রিমটি জয়েন করেছিলেন। আই থিঙ্ক আজকের লাইভ স্ট্রিমটি ভেরি স্পেশাল ছিল ফর অল অফ আস বিকজ very unique একটা story আমরা শুনেছি and um, motivational, inspirational, just positive একটি story শুনেছিলাম overall and I think যে আমি এই লাইভ স্ট্রিমের আগে request করেছিলাম for university students or like people in the younger generation to join because আজকের স্ট্রিমটি অনেক motivational ছিল for me personally and I think that because আমি আমাদের গেস্টটাকে previously অনেক ফলো করতাম it was a different experience and আশা করছি যে আপনারা ওনাকে এখন ফলো করবেন ওনার journey is still continuing like উনি বলেছিলেন in the middle of the stream যে daily নতুন obstacles or daily any obstacles উনি face করেন and I think it's such a big thing to see her journey and to see how she overcomes everything. যারা এখনো এই স্ট্রিমটি শেয়ার করেননি প্লিজ শেয়ার করবেন and উনি যেটা শেয়ার করেছেন throughout this stream আমি basically just বাংলাতে একটু চেষ্টা করছি ট্রান্সলেট করতে আমি previously translate করেছিলাম about her family and কত supportive ওনারা ছিলেন um, also question করেছিলাম about friends এমন condition দিয়ে নিয়ে স্কুলে যেতে obviously is going to be a little hard অনেক people accepting হবে না accept করবে না আপনাকে কাইন্ড ভাবে ট্রিট করবে না কিন্তু জেসিকা মেনশন করেছিলেন যে ওনার ফ্রেন্ডস ছিল like a handful of friends ছিল যারা ওনাকে সাপোর্ট করেছিলেন with or without prosthetic arms and I think যে children especially অনেক wholesome হতে পারে and also very bad behave করতে পারে with people who are different, because maybe ওনারা ওনাদের লাইফে or maybe বাচ্চারা ওদের লাইফে এমন মানুষ previously দেখিনি, and so সেই reactionটি is kind of expected, but উনি friends find করেছে যারা ওনাকে support করেছেন, and উনি prosthetic arms use করেছিলেন for 11 years before উনি realize করেছেন যে prosthetic arms আমার জন্য না, আমি আরো free feel করি যখন um, prosthetic arms আমি use করি না, এটা হচ্ছে আমার birth condition and it's better I live with it than try to disguise it in a way. So এটা উনি share করেছিলেন, and also share করেছেন যে as a child উনি অনেক adventurous ছিলেন and অন্যদেরকে wrong prove করতে অনেক পছন্দ করতেন, and I think that that's something that we can all learn from, because women especially women আমরা চেষ্টা করি সবার what's it called, stereotypes fit করতে or সবার expectations fit করতে, and um, last week একজন আপু join করে share করেছিলেন যে একটা live stream করো with just women, and সেই live streamটি হচ্ছে tomorrow, so আশা করছি যে কালকে আপনারা সবাই join করে share করবেন your experiences as a woman, especially if আপনারা প্রবাসী দেশে আছেন or প্রবাসী ভাইয়ের wife. আবু নুসাইফা জিজ্ঞেস করেছেন what pilot is she? উনি হচ্ছেন একজন licensed pilot. উনি হচ্ছেন the first female armless licensed pilot. So pilot হচ্ছে যারা planes control করেন, এবং উনি planes control করেন ওনার legs দিয়ে. আমি previously বলছিলাম যে the importance of proving people wrong. I think অনেক expectations আছে for women to do a certain thing or act a certain way, and আমরা women হিসাবে very very important to prove those people wrong, because obviously যখন আপনারা নতুন একটা জার্নি শুরু করবেন, whether that be একটি চাকরি করতে চান or একটি ইউটিউব চ্যানেল ওপেন করতে চান, প্রথমে criticisms আসবেই, but what's important is আপনি এই ক্রিটিসিজমটা ইউজ করবেন আপনার নিজের বেনিফিটের জন্য। যদি অন্যরা বলেন যে আপনি ভালো চাকরি করতে পারবেন না, কেন অ্যাপ্লাই করেছেন, চাকরিটা দ্য বেস্ট ওয়ে করে ওনাদেরকে রং প্রুভ করেন, সেই স্যাটিসফ্যাকশনটা ট্রুলি আনম্যাচড। কেউ যদি বলে আপনি এটা করতে পারবেন না, শো করেন যে আপনি করতে পারেন, আপনার স্ট্রেংথটি শো করেন, আপনার হার্ড ওয়ার্কটা শো করেন। আমি ওনাকে জিজ্ঞেস করেছিলাম যে কেন পাইলট হতে চেয়েছিলেন, or as a child what was your dream, and উনি শেয়ার করেছিলেন যে as a child যখন সুইং করতো, প্লেগ্রাউন্ডে সুইং করতো or প্লেগ্রাউন্ডে থাকতো and বড় স্লাইড থাকতো and climb করতে পারতো না because other বাচ্চারা বলতো যে don't climb it, উনি মনে করতেন যে আকাশে উড়ছেন, and from there এই concept develop হয়েছে to becoming a pilot, and সেই চান্সটি উনি পেয়েছিল after college. So প্রথম উনি surprisingly airplanes এ fear ছিল, একটু ভয় পেত, কিন্তু with experience, with practice, with hard work উনি এখন একজন very successful female pilot, and উনি also একজন very big advocate of people with disabilities. উনি different জায়গাতে যায় and বাচ্চাদেরকে specifically help করেন to overcome their differences. যারা special needs kids আছেন, it's very very easy to feel different. আমরা maybe accept করতে or ওনারা maybe accept করতে পারবে না the concept যে ওনারা different but not that different. And so Miss Jessica basically ওনাদেরকে or বাচ্চাদেরকে help করেন to gain confidence. Confidence থাকা অনেক important, and especially family support very important. So উনি just চেষ্টা করেন ফ্যামিলিদেরকে show করতেন, বাচ্চাদেরকে show করতে যে different হলে what's the problem? আপনার dreams still আপনি achieve করতে পারবেন, reach করতে পারবেন, আপনার goals অ্যাচিভ করতে পারবেন। অ্যান্ড ইন 2019 যখন মিস জাসিকা একটি ওয়ার্ল্ড ইউথ ফোরামে স্পিক করেছিলেন ইন শার্ম এল শেখ, ইজিপ্ট, ইজিপ্টের প্রেসিডেন্ট ওনাকে একটি অনারারি অ্যাওয়ার্ড দিয়েছিলেন। সো সেই মোমেন্টে যে যে ফিলিং অফ অ্যাকমপ্লিশমেন্ট ছিল, um, সেটা উনি শেয়ার করেছিলেন অ্যান্ড শেয়ার করেছেন যে এটা motivate করেছেন to keep going, to keep developing her dreams. And উনি শেয়ার করেছেন the importance of motivation আমরা সবাই human, sometimes maybe motivation থাকে না, but আমরা অন্যদের কাছ থেকে motivation find করতে পারি, but the most useful and most important motivation হচ্ছে from within. আপনি যদি নিজেকে motivate করতে পারেন, then that's amazing. Extra outside motivation আপনার লাগবে না. And that was basically it. আমি যখন ওনাকে জিজ্ঞেস করেছিলাম advice for the younger generation, উনি share করেছিলেন যে to keep working hard and to keep staying determined and to not conform to society's needs. Societyর অনেক ideas থাকে of um, a good person or a good gender. And so উনি share করেছেন the importance of আপনার নিজের যে ড্রিমস আছে সেই ড্রিমসগুলো ফুলফিল করতে হার্ড ওয়ার্ক করবেন, বিকজ অ্যাট দ্য এন্ড অফ দ্য ডে এটা হচ্ছে আমাদের লাইফ অ্যান্ড আমাদের গোলস। অন্যরা যদি বলে আপনি আপনার গোলস রিচ করতে পারবেন না, শো করেন যে আপনি রিচ করতে পারেন, অ্যান্ড দ্যাট শুড বি এনাফ to show your strength, to show who you are and make an impression. আমি নেক্সট বলতে চাই যে আপনারা যদি মা-বাবারা থাকেন in the viewing section right now, if আপনার child আছে without a hand, without an arm, without eyes, without legs, আমি বলবো যে ignore করবেন না, because especially if আপনার বড় family থাকে and একজন বাচ্চা আছে যিনি disabled, ignore করবেন না and other বাচ্চাদেরকে attention দেবেন না, more attention দেবেন না, equal attention থাকা দরকার, because আপনারা জানেন না, maybe যে এই disabled childকে আপনি ইগনোর করছেন, ওরা মেবি বড় হয়ে অ্যামেজিং একটা কিছু করতে পারবে যেটা আপনি কখনোই এক্সপেক্ট করেননি। জেসিকা কক্স হচ্ছে একজন গ্রেট এক্সাম্পল। সো আমি বলবো যে সবাইকে, স্পেশালি ইফ আপনার বাচ্চা থাকে হুজ ডিসেবলড, ভালোবাসবেন, রেসপেক্ট করবেন অ্যান্ড পাশে থাকবেন, বিকজ ডিসেবলড আছে তো কি হয়েছে, still a human being, still একজন মানুষ। So that's the important thing. Even if work জায়গাতে কোনো disabled মানুষ থাকে, ওনাদেরকে disregard করবেন না, they're still human, treat them with respect and love, and that's about it. Thank you so much যারা কমেন্ট করেছিলেন। আমরা comment section visit করতে পারিনি a lot throughout this section, but আমি যাচ্ছি right now to the comment section. Mohammed Asadullah, thank you very much for expressing or for bringing her onto the stream. You're very, very welcome. MD Abu Hurira, thank you. Mahfuja's vlog, thank you for agreeing with me. Leap Islam, thank you. Milad Bhaiya, thank you. Mohammed Masum Bila, আমার অনেক idols আছে, so চেষ্টা করি to take a little bit of inspiration from everyone. Rumel Ahmed, thank you. BD YouTuber Israt, thank you. MD Shed Ghazi, thank you. Al Mamun, nice to meet you, thank you. Aki Akhtar, thank you for your compliment. Johiruddin, I'm good, how are you? Fatima Shimi's Kitchen, very, very nice to see you. AU Ahmed, thank you for your blessings. AH Jewel, walaikum salam. Keman achen? Nuralam Tube, walaikum salam. Hosan Didar, hello. MD Monirul Islam, thank you so much for asking. কালকে আমাদের regularly streamed live streamটি অনেক very special হবে. It's going to be a live stream full of women. আপনারা যারা women আছেন, আপনারা join করে share করতে পারবেন আপনাদের life কেমন যাচ্ছে, আপনাদের hopes and aspirations কি আছে, আপনার goals কি আছে, and কি করছেন to achieve those goals. So I'm very very excited কালকের স্ট্রিমের জন্য because অনেক আপুদের সাথে কথা বলতে পারবো, অনেক আন্টিদের সাথে কথা বলতে পারবো. So that's um something I'm really looking forward toward. And যারা কমেন্ট করছেন in this stream, thank you so much. যারা এখন এই লাইভ স্ট্রিমটি শেয়ার করেনি, প্লিজ শেয়ার করবেন. I think যে এই স্ট্রিমটি অনেক educational, inspirational, motivational হতে পারে for a lot of people. And আমি also বলতে চাই যে the Pricila Quran Talwat and Azan competition of 2020 যে prize presenting ceremony টি হবে সেটি হবে on February 28th, so next month, February 28th Bangladesh time 9:30 p.m. um, live streamটি হবে. যারা first, second and third আছেন আপনার অ্যাটেন্ড করতে হবে. আশা করছি যে অ্যাটেন্ড করতে পারবেন বিকজ আমরা জাস্ট একটি লাইভ পারফরমেন্স রিসিভ করবো আপনাদের কাছ থেকে. অ্যান্ড জাজেসরা যদি কোনো কোয়েশ্চেন্স থাকে, কোনো কিছু যদি জানতে চায়, আমাদের যেই জাজেসরা থাকবেন ওনারা জিজ্ঞেস করবেন. অ্যান্ড ইফ ইউ আর নট এবল টু মেক ইট দেন আনফর্চুনেটলি you won't be eligible for the prize. Thank you so much once again. যারা এখনো শেয়ার করেনি প্লিজ শেয়ার করবেন. And আশা করছি যে especially my fellow women sisters আপনাদের সাথে কথা বলা হবে next or tomorrow. আপনাদের সাথে কথা বলা হবে and জানা হবে আপনাদের জীবন কেমন যাচ্ছে. if আপনাদের স্বামী থাকে in a প্রবাস country or in a foreign country, feelings কেমন, etc. etc. Very very excited for tomorrow's stream. আশা করছি আপনারা excited থাকবেন because very different but very useful, I hope. আশা করছি যে এই স্ট্রিমটি আপনাদের জন্য enjoyable ছিল because এই স্ট্রিমটি was almost fully in English. So thank you so much. আশা করছি যে কালকে আপনাদের সাথে আবার দেখা হবে. But until then আপনারা সবাই সাবধানে থাকবেন, সুস্থ থাকবেন and most importantly ভালো থাকবেন.